My fiance and I are going to Ireland and Scotland for a honeymoon, May 28th through June 11th, 2027.
Hmm.
What are some of your suggestions for things to do that are more local and less touristy? And follow up, do you have any sources about traveling to Ireland and Scotland that you recommend? Books, podcasts, social media page, etc.
So, going overseas, you said May 28th to June 11th?
Yeah.
Okay, so not height of tourist season, but not winter.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty good. Pretty ideal.
yeah, late spring. Okay. Early summer. I hate the date. Change your wedding date. It's all got to change. No, for everybody else who's watching, I'm going to start with this. I am very, very much an advocate of going to do touristy things in a non-tourist season. So, if you're going to Scotland and you don't have a date set, I freaking love going in January. I 2 years ago or last year, I forget when it was, a little while ago, I went in the summer and hated every second of it because usually when I go across, it's for a trade show in January. So that's the time. And when I go to Stirling Castle or I go to any of the touristy things you want to do or whatever, it's fine. Walking down the Royal Mile, it's fine. There's really, it's just a normal amount of people. When you go in the summer, you're mobbed. It is a different experience altogether when you have that many people, when you're waiting in line, when you're doing all of it. So if you haven't booked a trip, I know you guys have, but if the other person watching, everybody else watching hasn't booked a trip yet, winter, do it. It's great. Now, if you have booked a trip and you're going, during a medium tourist season or high tourist season.
Okay.
We'll start with some touristy things and then some non-touristy things. If you're going to do touristy stuff, do it first thing in the day.
Yep.
So, get out of bed, put yourself on a regular schedule. Can be a little bit difficult with the jet lag and all that.
Oh, yeah,
but,
for sure.
Get your breakfast, go out and do the touristy things as soon as the location opens. So if you're going to Edinburgh Castle, and I don't know, they open at 9:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, be at the gates at 9 o'clock. Get ready to go in because there's less people there doing the thing versus the height of everybody else. And you're packed in like cattle trying to wander through the halls or, going to a museum and you're wandering through and all the other people there. When it's just you and the thing with less people, it's more emotional. It puts a bigger imprint on.
Well, yeah, you're able to focus on. You're not distracted. You're not overwhelmed sensorially, and you can focus on the stuff you're there to actually see.
Yeah,
and you can actually see it because there aren't people in the way. Yeah. Are you going still?
You go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, totally. I mean, go off season when you can. As for the research part, there's plenty of travel guides out there. There's plenty of channels on YouTube of people who do travel vlogs, and especially for Scotland because, let's face it, tourism is like their top industry. So they're like the most or in the top 5 vacation destinations in the world, which is why you need to think about avoiding the crowds. My thought, what's always worked for me with any kind of travel, is finding people who are local to the country who do their own travel vlogs from a native perspective. For instance, one of my favorite examples is there was, I don't know if he still does it anymore, but there was a guy, Irish guy, who went all around the UK doing reviews of chippies. So he would go around and tell you where to find the best chippy in Ireland or Scotland or wherever, and he would rate them, and he was hysterical. He was this young kid, and he was just like totally just street guy, just like, these are great. But the point
chippy
is
meaning fish and chips.
Fish and chips, sorry. So find people who are exploring their own country and see what they think. Find out what they have discovered. And then what you've said very often is get yourself a local guide, as it were, once you're there. Find people who are local who can give you their recommendations, right?
Yeah, I would say for that, there's a couple different ways to do that. If you are on Facebook, there's like Andy the Highlander, there's the Tartan Viking guy, there's a few different like tour guides who do things. Maybe I don't know this for a fact, but I'm saying if somebody like that, I don't know if there's probably
I wasn't even
like
thinking professional guides, but go ahead.
Understood. So if you can find a professional guide who knows a particular area, great. Then they can also, maybe you're hiring them so they can A, show you some cool history. B, they might include a cool lunch spot that you might not otherwise know if they're taking a group or whatever. And then C, that you can ask them, hey, I really want a steak. What's the best place? Or I want a pub pie. What's the best place in Sterling to get a pub pie? Or, I want to try haggis. Where should I go? Things like that. And outside of a professional doing it, if you go to, if you're staying in a hotel, ask the concierge, where do you go? When we were in Ireland, years, like probably 15 or 18 years ago now, we went to Ireland. We're trying to find like this one particular high cross that Kelly wanted to see, and we couldn't find it. Like, this is like pre-navigation being in every single car.
Pre-GPS.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's the navigation address of a high cross stone? So anyway, I remember we were at a gas station in Ireland, in County Clare, looking for this thing. And we asked the guy behind the counter, and we were like, how do we get to this thing? And he's just like, oh yeah, okay, well, you're about 5 or so minutes away by car. You go down the road here, you do this, and he's giving us these instructions, and my eyes are glazing over like, oh crap, I'm never going to remember this. And there was another patron in the gas station standing there, and he's like, oh, you're looking for that. It's difficult to find. You have to take some back roads. It's not too far out of the way. Just follow me. I'll take you there. So finding local people, generally speaking, if the Tartan Army has showed us nothing, it is that people are proud of their own country when there are visitors there, and they want other people to have a good time, and they want to help people have a good time. So asking for help from an honest place of like, I really want to see this really cool thing. People, whether it's Scotland, Ireland, England, wherever it is, generally speaking, people are going to be nice and they're going to be cool. They're going to want to help you get to the place. I have faith in humanity, at least that much. So I would say, A, ask other people. Another big tip I have for you is don't jam too many things into your day.
Right.
Allow for serendipity. Allow to stop on the side of the road and explore a little bit. Jordan was talking about when he was in Ireland, he was driving around and he would specifically just get lost in the middle of nowhere and try to find cool stuff. And he found a castle. You have a picture of the thing you found? He just happened upon this driving around Ireland.
Yeah.
There's so much history and so many cool things over in the UK, in Ireland, in all of it, that you never know what you're going to come across. If you have a map, you'll actually know what you're going to come across. But outside of that, leave time for serendipity. So a lot of people are like, okay, I have these 5 things I want to get done today. If you're on a real short time scale and they're real important because they're part of your family heritage or something, fine. But if you're just going to relax and go on vacation, leave time to just wander. I remember when we went from, we were staying in Inverness and we had to get all the way down to Glasgow on our second last day of our trip or whatever it was. And we left a whole day to travel. It was like a 3 or 4 hour car ride, but we left the whole day. We're like, we're just going to see what happens. And, along the side of Loch Ness, we pulled over in a park. There's picnic tables and stuff there and a trail up into the woods. And Liam and I, in a little bit of misty rain, just took a 20-minute, half-hour wander in the woods with a river coming, or a stream coming down the mountain. It was beautiful, memorable. We have video of it. It was a different experience of just me and him wandering around with Kelly waiting in the car. But it was a fun memory that we have now. And the only reason we have it is because we allowed for the time for it to happen. Don't just be so motivated by a goal that you forget to happen, or you forget to take in what you see along the way. Thoughts?
You know what I really like about answering the questions on the show?
What do you like about answering the questions
Is the
on
fact
the show?
that the conversation can continue thanks to our YouTube channel where we post the clips, and our Facebook group, and our subreddits.
Yeah.
So if you're not following us on any of those, you should.
We talk a lot. We built a great community. Come join the community, guys.
Yeah, it's fun. Now just pack me in your trunk and I'll help you out. It's okay. No, seriously, all of that, I think making sure that you are going to restaurants that are for the locals, shop in the local grocery store, get your snacks. There are snacks you've never seen before, try things you've never seen before, even just to even if you're just like at a convenience store, self-drive if you are comfortable doing it, for sure. Bus tours, in my opinion, just kind of suck. They're very surface level. If you're nervous about traveling and you just want to be able to shut your brain off, that's fine too. And maybe a bus tour is a good idea for you. But coming from a background of being a bit more adventurous, I think self-driving is definitely the way to go. And I'll also advocate for staying in small B&Bs. And I don't know if you do Verbos and stuff over there so much, but I loved back in the day the book a bed ahead system, where you could just call up a set of B&Bs who offered it and say, hey, I'm coming into town tonight. Do you have room? Or a couple of days ahead. And the best place I ever stayed was this cottage owned by this old couple, and we stayed in their spare room essentially. They provided a simple breakfast that we had with them, and we were right next to this massive sheep pasture. Quiet, so quiet now you could hear a pin drop. The sheep were just woke you up in the morning, And when we asked them about where you should go to eat, they're like, oh, well, the pub is just basically down this road, and you go over this bridge and that. And we had this wonderful dinner at a pub, sat outside. There was a little canal. There were rats in the canal. It was funny as hell because we're throwing scraps to these canal rats at one point. But the point is,
Sounds like a punk rock band name, Canal Rats.
Canal Rats, yeah.
Good one.
Okay.
The levees. The point, get down and dirty. Get out of the commercial system. Get out of the corporate system. Get out of the hotel.
Go hang out with the rats.
All right.
No,
I'm serious though. I'm serious.
I know.
Have an experience where you're actually interacting with people who are not there just to take your money.
I will point out that we stayed at a bed and breakfast once, and bed and breakfasts to me are kind of, it depends on the person renting the bed and breakfast, not the host. It depends on you as an individual and how you like to travel.
Yeah.
So we did it once on our first trip, and we found it a little weird that it was just like, okay, well, we'd like you to be in by this time at night, and breakfast will be at this time in the morning, and it was a bit more structured and like parental than I would want, especially in my late 20s, early 30s when we went on that particular one.
Uh-huh.
So it can be very good if that's your style. Similar
But they're all different.
Agreed.
Everybody runs theirs differently.
Agreed. So. And I'm saying even for like a bus tour, it's in my mind, like if you're the type of person who loves cruises and wants that structure and here's your events, here's the things you're doing, just give us your check and it's all taken care of, then a bus tour and that kind of structured tour can make sense.
Yeah.
If you want some more adventure, then I would say 100% rent a car, 100% try a bed and breakfast, try some smaller hotels or whatever, try local stuff. But it's not nearly as having done it. It's not nearly as scary driving in the UK.
Okay, I thought you were going to say bed and breakfasts aren't nearly as scary.
No. They're still scary.
Youth hostels can be scary.
That's fair.
Youth hostels are actually awesome too, though.
Yeah, but it's all about experiencing the actual culture, not just the touristy things.
Mm-hmm.
That said, touristy things are fine to do as well. They are touristy things for a reason. Edinburgh Castle is a tourist spot for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool and people want to see the history bits.
Yeah.
But a good vacation in my mind is a balance between history bits and touristy things, and then saying, okay, but this is what people actually live like today, and this is the things that people actually do today.
Yeah, I would say if I were going for, like, let's say I had a whole 2 weeks, I would plan the more adventurous stuff towards the beginning. Hiking, try. I don't know if you can rent tents and stuff. It just occurred to me, but there are people who will take their gear and will just do a hiking tour of Scotland. But start off with the more rough and tumbles first, and then as you start to get a little more fatigued, or you want to relax towards the end, then have the hotel stays towards the end of the visit so you can pamper yourself a little bit more. I would do the rustic stuff first and the city stuff at the end. Do the stuff that might be more physically demanding at the beginning of the visit, and then do, again, the stuff where you're feeling pampered and you just kind of chill. And yes, I'm going to just sit here and have a whiskey and watch people go by on the street of Edinburgh. Do that towards the end. That's probably my biggest tip.
And the other thing I would point out, the last thing I'll point out is, and Don't take my word for this. Google this and figure this particular thing out yourself, because I don't know all the intricacies of it, and I'm probably going to say something wrong, but here I'm going to say it anyway.
So what else is new?
Exactly. There's the UK. We as U.S. citizens have very, very strict property rights, meaning these are the four corners of my property. No one is allowed to walk across my property.
Right.
If I want them, put up no trespassing signs and say, "Hey, you damn kids, get off my lawn." They don't have that in a lot of places in Scotland. There's something called a right to roam.
Yep.
Look that up. It started in 2003. And it's basically, if you're, hiking across Scotland, you can cross through people's properties. So if you want to go to Glencoe and you find a good parking spot, not right to roam, on their property, on your car, on your camper, but you have the right to park and then just go kind of wander off and, climb a mountain and walk around.
Right.
I believe this is where I don't know what I'm talking about, but they have right to roam stuff where we don't. So there's a lot. You have to get over that I'm not allowed to walk off of the road because it's not mine mentality, and explore a little bit. Like, that's the beauty. A lot of Scotland is nature and is beautiful.
Yeah.
So the more you actually immerse yourself in it, not just look at it from the road and take a couple pictures, but actually park at an appropriate location and then get out and have a wander, you'll understand what, why thistles are prickly. You'll understand what the midges are. You'll understand more of the nature bits. You'll touch the heather, not just take a picture of it. And that kind of stuff, the visceral, physical touching of the things, not saying touch everything on Scotland, but that also imprints in your memory and gives you different memories to take home.
Yeah, I think the right to roam thing is partially because they acknowledge you're basically passing through somebody's backyard or the back acreage of their property is not the interesting bit. You're on your way to that landmark over there, or you're on your way to go climb that hill. So absolutely do the hill walking thing. And you just made me think of something else is if you're a history nut, I highly recommend approaching historic castles and stuff from a weird angle on foot. So you can get a perspective of what it would have been like to actually be in a conflict surrounding that castle. When we visited England, I made a point of climbing up the embankments of Sarum, which is an old, Iron Age hill fort. And it's like, I want to know what it would be actually like to try and run at this thing and imagine that there are actually wooden palisades at the top of this hillock, and what it would be like to get probably killed. But it was great. So I was like, my wife went up the main path and I was like, I'm going to go over here and go up through the brambles. And she's like, okay, whatever. But it was great. It was like a raw experience. You know what I mean? And if you have an imagination, if you're a history nut like me, it can be a really cool way just to get a sense of like, this is real. Stuff actually went down here, and it's just like
it puts yourself in the mindset.
Put yourself in the mindset as best you can.
Now, I will say that be aware that not every place
you can do that.
You're allowed to do that.
No, I know.
We were in,
I know.
I think it was York, and they had
can't do it everywhere.
Yeah, they had a big not castle, but like a big tower in the center with a dirt mound going up to it. And there were signs all around. Do not climb on the freaking dirt mound.
I know.
And people doing it anyway, but you're not supposed to. So
I'm not saying break the law.
Agreed. That's what I'm underlining. In fact, you're not saying that. Respect the historical things that you are viewing.
You have to approach it with respect, yes.
Yeah, don't wreck it so other people can enjoy it a million years from now.
But I think the point is the infrastructure we're used to for most of human history didn't exist. So the more you can remove yourself from that, the more you can have a really memorable experience.
Yep.
This I learned from my uncle, the archaeologist in Arizona, where we'd talk about some of the fortifications down there. I was like, can you imagine what it'd be like to just, try and walk up this hill with guys flinging arrows and stones at you?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm rambling.
I'm going to give one more odd one I just thought of. Don't just take pictures. Take video. Even if it's 10-second video of you, kind of like looking around while you're at a spot, while you're looking at the thing. So many people, when they're at an event, they'll sit there and they'll take pictures, of the thing and just be done with it. And then later on, you're trying to remember, I think this was when we were here. What was this landscape look like? But if you're standing at a marker that says you're at Ben Nevis and this is the highest point in Scotland, and if you're walking around, even if you just stopped and you walk around and do a 360, talk on the video about the things that you're seeing, the things that you're smelling, the things that you're hearing. in the surroundings while you are in the surroundings. So that way later on, you can relive that moment a little bit better, not just through a photo. And you're bringing other people into that moment with you when you're showing that video to your friends.
I get that. I would also advise the opposite. Going back to what you said about, no, seriously, what you said about
Just put the damn phone down.
Not over planning your day.
Yeah.
Going about not over structuring your day and having some random time just to chillax and explore at a slow pace. Give your mind a chance to relax, and you can form memories. Put the damn phone down. I don't have any photos of those cute little canal rats I was talking about outside the pub that one night, but I remember it vividly. I can remember the view out that window from that cottage I stayed in. I don't have any photos of it, but it's locked into my brain because I took the time to make a note of it. So,
fair.
Yeah. Just go into it with all your senses open.
Yeah, and live in the moment, 100%. Yeah,
and eat in the moment.
Yes. Enjoy the local cuisine, and enjoy time with your bride. Enjoy your honeymoon.